It's 7 o'clock, and I'd like to invite everyone to stand for the pledge of the flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Happy New Year!
Day 7.
Our first meeting of the new year. As you'll see, Commissioner Jablonski is not going to be with us this evening. She is a very proud grandmother tonight. So her first grandchild, and she'll be back with us for next Wednesday's workshop.
Which daughter?
It was a boy.
Danielle.
Oh, Danielle.
Oh, okay.
Danielle, yep. And the other daughter, Jessica, is expecting any time also. Okay, minutes of the December 17th meeting.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Financial report and payment of bills. Do we have a motion to approve the financial report?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Discussion. Real quickly, Steve, on the front page of the financial activity report, there's a prior accounts receivable for the personal property tax.
Okay.
And I saw that there hasn't been any money coming in. Is that because of a billing cycle?
Yeah, they're billed all during the year. They're billed when we get the information from the state of Maryland. Those returns that the businesses file with the state, then they're passed on to us and we apply our tax rates in the bill. So they go out to fall during the year.
Very good. Any other questions?
Nope.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Lou, you're on.
The first item I have tonight is ordinance 5-214. This was introduced by Gene Minner at the December 17th meeting. And this ordinance affects the Elkton zoning ordinance. And it's been slightly amended since the format that was introduced on the 17th, and it includes a definition of temporary vehicle storage, which I'll read into the record. Temporary vehicle storage means vehicles that must be held pending settlement of insurance or similar claims, or a vehicle recently purchased pending inspection. In either case, the period of time shall not exceed 30 days. This was added to paragraph 2 on that second page. Other than that, no other changes have been made other than a format change on the whereases. I would recommend that the board adopt this ordinance.
Do we have a motion to adopt ordinance 5-2014?
So moved. Second.
And a second. Any discussion on the ordinance?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
The second item I have is ordinance 7-214. This was also introduced on the 17th, following public hearings by both the Planning Commission and the Mayor and Commissioners. This affects the Elkton subdivision regulations. Some minor changes have been made or amended to include the format under one of the whereases, and under section 4 final plat procedure paragraph 2, I've included the entire paragraph there with the amended language. Basically, what this does is require that the final plat procedure follow certain notice provisions that are set forth in the code already. So it just ties those final plat procedures into the other sections of the code. So I would recommend that the Mayor and Commissioners adopt this ordinance also.
Very good. Do we have a motion to accept ordinance 7-2014?
So moved.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next item we have is a proclamation.
Do we have the Downtown Festival of Arts? Do we want to?
Not this Wednesday.
Very good. We have the proclamation P1. Go ahead, you got it.
Yes, I saw that the downtown people weren't going to be here, I think. This proclamation, Mount Albion Academy, United States Department of Education, Blue Ribbon School for 2014. Whereas the United States Department of Education seeks out and celebrates great American schools, and whereas the National Blue Ribbon Schools program recognizes schools based on overall academic excellence, and whereas Mount Albion Academy, because of its exemplary academic excellence, has been designated as the United States Department of Education Blue Ribbon School for 2014. And whereas Mount Albion Academy is one of 337 schools nationwide and one of only 50 private schools in the United States to receive the National Blue Ribbon School of Excellence Award for 2014. Whereas Mount Albion Academy received this recognition by maintaining the highest academic standards and performing in the top 15% of all schools in nationally standardized testing. And whereas Mount Albion Academy is hereby recognized for its valuable contribution in providing an excellent education of Cecil County, Maryland's youth. Now therefore, the Mayor and Commissioner of the Town of Elkton congratulate Mount Albion's principal, administration, teachers, support staff, students, and parents for achieving the designation of the United States Department of Education Blue Ribbon School of Excellence for 2014.
Very good. Do we have a motion to accept that proclamation?
So move.
And a second.
Second.
Any discussion?
It's a great honor on behalf of Mount Albion Academy to attain that. Particularly, you know, when you are competing with public schools, obviously with 337 total, it's 287 public and 50 private, so that's a great honor.
Very good. Thank you very much, Charlie. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
I have ordinance 8-214. You want to proceed with that?
No, we're not going to proceed with the ordinance 8-2014. I wanted Commissioner Jablonski to be here. And I know Commissioner Van Reenen had some questions, and we're going to do it at the workshop on Wednesday to get all the questions out of the way. I feel extremely comfortable. We're going to have support on the deduction of that sewer bills, and we'll introduce it the second meeting.
It's been introduced, so we can move it for the meeting on the 21st.
Yes.
I mean, the 14th for discussion, the workshop on the 21st for adoption.
For adoption.
Very good. Thank you, Lou. Any old business? I guess we've been including the old business with the new business. Okay, I have a few things to report. Okay, the parking meters. I don't believe we've moved forward to take the covers off, or have we?
They're still on.
They're still on. I think that what we, at what point are we going to remove those covers? Can we go ahead and remove the covers?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Just waiting for the board's decision.
You guys, everyone okay with that?
the first of the year.
Yeah. And we're going to, as we discussed in our workshop, we're going to start, continue to enforce, as we discussed in the workshop. And quite frankly, we went through so many different things, I'm not 100% sure exactly what we did say, but I think I know it's in the minutes, and we'll follow through with that.
I've got a question for some of the people that may not be sitting here hearing us discuss this and may not have heard all the logistics about the covers, not enforcing and not charging people. Some people that have that thought process where I'm gonna park here again today and not look over and see the covers removed. How are we handling that?
Well, that's a good question. I would think that we'll start the captain. You're in charge of all that. So I'm going to put the burden on our officers. That's who's going to be enforcing the meters, correct?
Yes.
And I would say that I would say that we officially start enforcing. If we take the covers off tomorrow, Dan, can we get the covers off tomorrow? Then I would say let's start enforcing next Monday. Is everyone good with that?
Right.
Does that give enough time? We'll put it in the.
We'll put it on the website too.
Yeah, we'll put it on the website that we're going to start enforcing next Monday.
Twitter,
Very good. Does that work out all right, Earl?
They're bright red, so you should really see them out there.
I agree with you, but I guess we're gonna give them that. It's almost like burning your finger in the fire. You wanna go back and touch it.
We have, I know for many, many years, since I know the first time that I served, we've entered into a contract with the fireworks company to present fireworks to the town of Elkton. There's a contract, no increase from last year, for $15,330. They're asking for, I think, a 50% deposit on the fireworks. I guess they want to get a feel from the board. Do we want to move forward with fireworks for 2015?
Yes.
Yes?
I thought it was 25,000. Wouldn't it pass Phil's 25,000? I remember that discussion before. 15?
All right. Charlie?
The cost is the same, so the time duration is going to be the same as when they display them.
Same show as last year.
It's 24, 25, 26 minutes.
And last year's show, I think that the board decided to go with the entire show at 15,000.
They didn't cut it down last year.
I know there was discussion about doing that. But the board went with the, I think it's a 30-minute show for 15,000. I can get that confirmed for you,
It was supposed to be 30, but it was more like 25 minutes.
Okay.
Right, move on with it, yes.
Yes.
All right, let's move on to fireworks. We have a few items here. I'd ask the, we had put out for, we had a few vacancies in town boards, and a couple of them that we talked about was we have an opening for the Board of Zoning Appeals. We have now, of course, 2 openings for the Ethics Board, since we increased the members from 3 members to 5 members. And we also have an opening on the Planning Commission Board. I'd like to wait another meeting to appoint anyone to the Ethics Board. I think we've been getting some applications, but I think it's been noted that there's some more resumes and applications coming for the Ethics Commission. So I'd like to hold off on that if we could.
I agree with you. What is going to be your procedure? Because there's a host of names. Is there any particular fashion that you want to go through?
I think what I'd like to see from the host of names, I'd like to have some recommendation from the board on the Ethics Board.
Okay.
The other boards are pretty, to me, they're somewhat cut and dry to me. I'd like to, in fact, I'm going to go ahead and move forward here and ask this question. I'd like to have the commissioners accept James Cooney on the Board of Zoning Appeals as my recommendation to fill the substitute position. So I would need confirmation from the group here. So I would need a second to accept James Cooney.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion on James?
Is he qualified?
I think he's as qualified as all members, being a resident of the town. Yes, sir. All in favor?
Aye.
James Cooney will be on the Board of Zoning Appeals as an alternate. I'd also like to fill the position on the Planning Commission that has been left by Ozma. And I'd like to appoint an individual that served on the planning board for many, many years and reappoint him, and that would be David Wiseman. Dave served as the chairman for many years, and I think he did a wonderful job on the Planning Commission.
He certainly did, and I second that.
So we have a second. Any discussion on Dave?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we appointed 2 new members, and we also have some reappointments tonight. These are individuals that are on our existing boards, and we just have to reappoint them. So I'd like to reappoint them all. The first one is Ed Ginder. He's serving on the Planning Commission. I'd like to, his term would now go until January 2020. Do we have a second on that?
Second on that.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
On the Board of Zoning Appeals, we have a Mr. Charles Kramer. His expiration date will be January 2018. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We have Mr. Robert Olenwine on the Board of Zoning Appeals, and his term will expire January 2018. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Our final reappointment is Bridget Rera on the Elkton Housing Authority, and her expiration will be January 2020. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Thank you. All righty. Well, that's all I have tonight. Earl, what would you have?
I have nothing except for, I did want to make a comment. When we appoint people, we don't have any kind of guideline for us to see who is most qualified for that position. Like if we had someone from the planning and zoning to be able to tell us this person has a good background in planning and zoning, or I know that we have some reappointments that have served in the zoning committee, and that would, to me, would be an indicator that this is someone that we're appointing that has an idea of what they're dealing with, and it doesn't take 2 or 3 years for them to understand what is really taking as far as the process to make a decision on something. When these reappointments were coming my way, first thing I'm thinking, oh yeah, if I know them, fine. If I don't know them, I have anything to go by except for here's what their information that they sent me. It doesn't tell me whether or not they're good enough for this, not good enough, qualified for this position. So that's something maybe we want to look at in the future, maybe putting some kind of a 3-question, does this person know about such and such, or as part of the
That's a good point.
application.
That's a very good point. The reappointments, I actually spoke to staff that is in charge of those committees, and they gave the thumbs up on all the reappointees. So I know that if there was any conflicts there, I know that they would have mentioned it to me to say that we may want to make a change there. So everything was in a positive on the reappointments. Anything else, Earl?
That's it.
Charles?
That was the same reason why, pretty much similar to Earl's question, even with the number of people you have for the ethics committee, you know, what determination criteria would you have set up for them? I know a lot of times you have people who volunteer and you sure don't want to, you know, shy them away. And sometimes you go into it not really knowing, but certainly those people can do a good job. But certainly it would be nice if you had a guideline or something that you want to adhere to. But that's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Van Reenen?
I have a lot of questions for, I know Buttonwoods is here tonight, so I'll hold some of that off for you guys, because I have a lot of things, and also for the captain. It's in that the workshop next week, Steve, to go over the sewage, the reduction in sewage rates. One of the big questions I had was cost versus actual cost versus projected costs of how we came up with that 11%. And also capital improvement. Where do we stand on that? I want that discussed at next workshop also, along with, for the sewage and water. Do we actually have a 5-year plan for capital improvement for the sewage and water?
No.
No, we don't. We don't have a formal 5-year plan. We have the request from Ken Benner from Severn Trent Environmental Services for both the water and sewer fund, his project, his capital projects that he would like to have the town consider.
Okay. I'll bring that up in the next workshop then. I have
Very
other
good.
questions along with that. They go along the same lines of just projected costs versus what we're going to be doing now and just being cautionary. I'll hold everything else. I was prepared for that and Buttonwoods. I'll wait for Buttonwoods to come up.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, now is the time of the meeting. We open up the floor for our citizens of our town of Elkton, and we've got a great group from Buttonwoods here tonight. And Gerald Hawkins of 512 Buttonwoods Road, if you'd like to come up and have a seat and tell us your concerns about the parking issues.
Gerald, before your dialogue come, I would like for Lois to give a background history to some of the members of Buttonwoods who've been here before. Certainly understand their problem, and also DJ and Robbie, they've heard before what happened to the association, how we added parking, and then we can tie that in.
Originally, when the courts was developed, they had a homeowners association that owned and maintained the public open space and parking lots and all that. And over a number of years, it went, for lack of a better term, belly up. So Mr. Wilson at the time, as the town attorney, found one existing member of that organization that could sign off on a quitclaim deed for the town, and the town took it over and became public property. One of the problems that occurred with respect to the residents is that I think they had, when it was a homeowners association, lettered or numbered parking spaces, which that's their right and they own it. Now there's public property, it can't be dedicated to any particular citizen. The only exception might be for a handicap access sign or something like that. But I think that and what we have done, we have complaints on parking, and we constructed a parking lot, accent, enhanced parking area on the curve of Buttonwoods Road there a couple of years ago. It was about 2 years ago, somewhere in that neck of the woods.
2 or 3 years.
So, yeah, and that's the only enhancement we've made to parking out there to date.
Thanks.
Thank you, gentlemen. Part of my concern is, like you said, with the parking, the enhanced parking that was put in, I guess the contract or the recommendations came through KCI, which is the town, was or still may be the town's engineering firm. The 500 block was the one who had a concern about the parking. Part of the thing being twofold is the fact, number one, I'm with the fire department, which most of you do know me. And second of all, the parking that was put in originally and approved by the town was for 1.5 parking spaces. Folks, if I could cut my car in half, I would. But unfortunately, we can't do that game. You know, so we have a situation here that has been created prior to even the residents being in their homes. This was approved by the town. So now, what I'm asking is, since we were the ones that came and asked under the old Merrill position to, can you do something for us? I had suggested up there at the 600 block, there is one big open space up there where I call Doggy Island, and that's just what it is. There's room up there that you could put some parking spaces in there. I don't know why they went over between the 300 and 400 block, because they weren't the ones that were asking for it, and we were.
Okay.
Number two, I mean, I'm in and out all hours of the night with animal control, as well as being with the fire department, and you'd be surprised what I see at 2 o'clock in the morning. And I have called the police, because I don't like some people running through the old folks' home up there, because I wonder what they're going to do. You know, we had a lady who's present at the meeting tonight that had her car moved from her parking space up on top of the hill on the curb. She says she may have dropped the keys or whatever, she's not sure. But the problem is, again, somebody is snooping around in the area. I can't go to the police and blame the police, because being with the fire department, I am able to hear the police conversations, being with animal control, so if something comes in and I hear it, I start shooting that way. But, you know, these guys are making their patrol checks. I can't say that they're not. I see them. I wave to them. I stop and talk to them sometimes. But, you know, there's something that's got to give here. I'm to the point right now where I'm ready to hang a camera. Several cameras. Only problem is, I'm a poor folk. I can't afford it. You know? So, my question is, I understand, I know it's late in the season, the blacktop plants are closed and all that, I understand that. And I know that things can't really get fired up until springtime. But if something could be done, I mean, even if we turn around and issue 2 passes per resident for in that area. I know Turnquist had that. I think it's still in play up there, if I'm not mistaken. That the the people who live up there get 2 of them, and then they get a visitor's pass. That if somebody comes in, the visitor's pass is put into that particular person's vehicle.
Right. How is that handled?
The Turnquist is designated by ordinance as a special purpose parking area, and then we issue permits, but it's enforceable. In other words, if you create a special purpose parking area in Buttonwoods, then we could issue up to 2, depends on what the board decides, 2 permits to park, but any person that parks in there without that permit would be issued citation by the police. So, you know, as long as everybody parks where they're permitted, that is fine. And you have to have over, you know, excess parking area too.
But it also does not deed a specific spot to a specific
No,
house.
it's just.
Right.
you're allowed to
So
park.
as long as you have the parking permit, you can park anywhere you want in
Yeah, in the parking area.
in there.
And then there's a spillway area, in Turnquist on Wheelhouse Drive. You know.
The only problem that you have with that is a lot of us, we in the 500 block help each other out and we shovel out parking spaces. And there are those that don't do squat.
So you'll shovel out your spots.
Well, no, I mean, we all try and help shovel out our spots. My neighbor has a snow blower. I have one that I've bought and have put gas in 3 years. Maybe I'll get lucky this year. I don't know. It's just a little one, but it'll make some noise. But anyway, you know, we try and help each other out in there. We sit outside during the summer months with the kids to make sure the kids don't get in trouble and make sure kids don't come down and start trouble down there. You know, so, you know, we try and be a good cul-de-sac, if that's what you want to call us, for lack of better terminology.
Jerry, would and you can't speak for the whole neighborhood, but if the town of Elkton helped to rejuvenate a homeowners association, would that be of something of value to you?
No, because of the fact right now you have a lot of people have sold out, and they are now a whole heck of a lot of rentals in there right now. So now it becomes, okay, fine. Now you have to go back to trying to collect your, you know, your association dues and all that. And let's face it, Bob Jones was our attorney back then, because I was also president of the homeowners association out there too. And you'd be surprised how many people say, yeah, I'll pay them, and then come the end of the year, they don't want to do nothing.
Understand.
Okay, and that's par for the course.
Okay.
Okay, but the thing is, again, you know, if we could just get the overflow parking up there, where if we walk up to the top of the hill, you know, that's not bad, because at least the residents probably would feel a lot more safer than going over there to the other side, where there are drug issues that go on over there. I mean, it's a known fact. The other thing that you have too is at the top of the hill in the 500 block, the light up there has not worked probably for about the last 4 months.
Lou, you can take care of that one?
Yeah, if we were, as reported to us, we would call Delmarva.
Okay.
And then they'll do it, but I'm not aware of it.
Okay, well, I'll tell you the truth, Mr. George, you know, I'm not taking anything away from you, but I used to holler at Mayor Fasone all the time. And, you know, because he's one of my fire police, so I can. But anyway, you know, I'm not saying Delmarva didn't come out and fix it, but the problem kept going on and on and on and on. I think it's to the point right now where Delmarva needs to come out and replace the light. And maybe I think that a letter needs to be sent from the commissioners to Delmarva requesting that that light do be changed.
We can handle that. We'll take a trip out there to get the light pole number, and we'll
submit
make
it,
that happen.
yeah.
We'll get that submitted.
Actually, the light is right there by a trailer that's sitting there, so you can't miss it.
Okay,
Guaranteed. You can bring it out during the day, you'll see the trailer lights right there. Can't miss it.
very good.
Okay. Again, in closing, I'm not going to drag this on, but if we could definitely do something up there in that 600 block, you know, I think the residents would probably feel.
I know that staff was actually out there today, and you were looking at areas that they could create some more parking.
Right. Okay.
I know
Thank
that.
you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners.
Thank you.
Jerry, before you go, I want to touch back on the HOA real quick. There's other residents in there that approached me about starting the HOA again, and I belong to an HOA, so I understand sometimes you're paying for other people until they sell the house. And
The
they
only
get your
problem
money
with
back.
the HOA that I have a question on is the fact of would the town still be responsible for snow removal? I know we would, as an HOA, would probably have to be the ones to clear the sidewalks and everything.
Right.
But, I
We would
can tell you
only
right,
maintain the courts, the
What's that?
Buttonwoods Road.
Yeah, and that's all you do now.
That's all we would maintain then.
okay.
When you got a lot
Well,
of home.
Right, and that's one of the other things. Have a seat. Have a seat.
Okay.
Because I was thinking about this today, and I've been involved with Walnut Hill, and with the neighborhood watch that's starting up there. And we talked to, they have an HOA. So it's really, it works well hand in hand. I know that there's some issues up there, and when I was running for election, I also walked that neighborhood and the senior
Right,
next
right.
door where they have plenty of issues because of people coming over.
Correct.
I'm not saying that it would be a quick fix, but I think a fix that would last a long time is some type of partnership between an HOA and a neighborhood watch program that wouldn't just benefit the 600 block or 5 or 4 or 3, it'd be everybody. I was hoping the police chief would be here tonight because I wanted to go over that, but we actually as a town don't have a guideline for a neighborhood watch. And the officer that came out for Walnut Hill, again, I'll reiterate, he was very articulate, he did a great job. But us as a town, we don't have, this is step 1, this is step 2, this is step 3, and we need to have that. So when we have these situations, Walnut Hill, Chapel Run, anywhere else, we can say, okay, this is the guideline, this is what we suggest, here's the materials. I mean, I would like to see that happen because it's beneficial to you, and quite frankly, it's beneficial to the town too, because it does remove a cost from other people that are paying for the upkeep of that. So it
Right, but then you turn around and you put a cost back on the residents that are already paying town taxes. I mean, if you're gonna tax exempt me, I'll do it. I don't care.
that means I would have to tax exempt myself
I mean,
to
come
Chapel
on,
Run.
You want some, I want some,
Okay.
you know, so we gotta be
No, I
happy
hear
in the
you.
middle somewhere. But, you know, the issue too being that if that comes along, particularly with snow removal, and I've done contract snow removal for years, you know, you gotta carry insurance. If one of the people
Sure.
fall out there because of that, okay, so now we're adding a liability policy.
Sure.
Okay. Now we are also bringing up another liability policy for grass cutters, because if they throw something into the house,
Well,
okay.
they would carry their own.
Well,
They would carry their own. They would have to.
they should, let me put it to you that way, just like snowplow guys should be carrying street sweepers insurance, but we all know they don't.
Okay, if you say so.
You know, I mean, but, you know, again, this is more cost that the people out there would have to pay. I mean, our dues, when I left it, when they defunct it out there, I think were $300,
No, they weren't that high.
weren't they? Okay.
I'm for it, yeah, personally, so.
See, the thing is, even with what I see happening here, is that all of a sudden we build something, and then people are just going to go that, you're still going to have the same problem until
Yeah.
there's some type of policy in place that can absolutely be enforceable, some accountability. I'm telling you, I really think that you're just going to be in here, or somebody that lives in that neighborhood is just going to be in here 4 years from now saying, hey, why did you build it there? Why can't we have it over here?
All right, well, the thing
And
is,
that-
if we go with the HOA, then, you know, I think that there's gonna have to be a lot of communication between the homeowners association and the town.
Absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
You know, I think that,
I'm not saying that's the way that you should go. I'm just saying that I think it's an option that we should explore.
Right.
And to add to what DJ is saying, you know, we have there's a management group that handles multiple areas, housing developments throughout the town of Elkton. And that's, of course, I don't know if I want to throw them a plug or not.
well, no, I think they
No.
own the storage place up there on 213.
No, that's not them. They're actually in downtown. It's Aspen Management
Yeah,
Group.
yeah.
And they would work with you to help. They would do all the collecting of the money. They do all the invoicing. They take care of everything. They come out and they stencil your parking spots back in front of your house. They take care of hiring the grass cutting crew, the snow removal crew. They maintain all the open space. But then your board is the one that would have to determine what the rates have to be to fund all this.
Right.
And as I said, it would be a benefit for the town of Elkton and yourselves if we would even help seed this, per se. And when I say seed it, we've actually talked to John Downs, our town attorney, and we've had some discussions about this. We'd love to have all the neighborhoods have their own HOA again.
Absolutely.
It would be very beneficial. Yes, Betty?
Well,
Miss
what-
Betty?
Yes.
All right.
Like a lot of us already cut our own grasses, we have fenced-in yards. Now, we can keep the cost down by continuing to do those things.
Yes, you would cut your own grass in your own yard. They would just take care of all the open space, all the common areas.
That's it.
And because the common areas aren't being taken care of now. The island in our section was never backfilled from day one, and we have lived there since that house was built.
Yeah, and it's been a struggle over. I know when I first came on, we were
When you came out,
the little areas, and it was very tough to maintain and cut the grass. We were throwing rocks and stones up, hitting the cars, and there's a lot of challenges there.
I
But we
think
could,
the problem was Lee Larson, who was the landscaper out there at the time that did that, never came back in and properly filled it back in.
our trees were growing.
And I'll tell you the truth too, another thing that you're looking at too out there is, with the blacktop. Okay, that's only base that's down. That is not a cover top. If you look at blacktop and you look at base you see a lot of stone. Okay, I can take you out there and show you the difference between base and regular top. When you come down with a layer of base, that's just what it is, a stone, it's something to ride on, it's something that's gonna hold for a while. Base is not meant to last forever. When you go into blacktop, then that's when you go into your different grades of oil to make it last longer, but all we have is base out there.
well, we'll take a look at that, and that's, I think it's something we need to discuss a little bit further, and I promise you we'll come out there and take a look at those.
Yeah, I'd like to talk with you. I mean, I really would. I hold no hard feelings
Yep.
with anybody. And, I think the only way that this is gonna happen is we gotta do something, I guess, collectively.
I think so.
And I think maybe we can get it off the ground and, get something rolling.
What was your address again?
512.
512?
512, and Betty is actually 512 also. Husband and wife there, I'm assuming? There you go.
Some of the people that have come to me, I'll have them come over and start talking to you, because I know they don't live.
Well, my question is, and I know you spoke to Stephanie today, she's our neighbor also, and she only has one vehicle, she needs a knee replacement, they park in her spot all the time. I've moved my car so that she can park near her house, because she is, somewhat handicapped. We need our designated spots back. So if the homeowners association is the way we need to go, then I feel that's how we need to go, but we can work collectively to keep the cost down to a minimum.
And we will help with
That's
that.
what we need, but the problem is, usually you have to have the majority of the people in your development agree upon that. Can we split it up? Can we split our development up? We're cul-de-sac. Why can't our cul-de-sac have a homeowners association? Or share it with the 600 block,
Yeah,
that way.
those are good questions, and it's over our head for tonight, but
Yeah.
I can tell you, we'll get with John Downs, because I know John's been researching this, and he will tell us how many residents out of the neighborhood, and it doesn't really matter to us if they're rentals. If they're rentals, they're gonna be billed by the homeowners association, and if they don't pay, they put a lien onto the property.
But
That's
those are the
The problem
people
is,
that-
there's so much lead money out there that's owed from that development out there right now, we probably take care of all blacktop.
Oh, my. Well, we'll help with that.
So-
Yep, I have you on the agenda, I think.
Okay, let me get up, I've said enough.
All right.
Thank you.
Hold on. What do you think, 30 days? That you would be able to have it? You want to reconvene in 30 days? Is that enough time to find out some of the questions as far as
We're gonna be
split it
doing a
up?
workshop, and we can bring about
I think the Buttonwoods is on the workshop, isn't it?
Yeah, I had asked for that to be, it was postponed, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next Wednesday?
Is it on next Wednesday, or is it?
I can put it on next Wednesday.
Go ahead and put it on next Wednesday, and let's talk about this a little bit more in detail.
Would I be okay, could I come
Yeah,
down?
absolutely. It's a 4 o'clock
Or
meeting.
bring some other people?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Okay.
4 o'clock?
4 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some people coming from the 100 block as well, too, Clifton Wilmot.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I just want to make a comment.
Sure.
Jerry, you touched base on about 2 things. I know from next week, or we're going to talk at the work session, about the rental people that I have been renting property. That was a big concern that I had, that we were already gonna talk about. But the lighting was another key issue, so you had both of those. But one of the things, hopefully, next week when we talk at the workshop, I was wondering if we could do some kind of fencing for security from neighborhood to neighborhood, when I say neighborhood, block to block. That way, when you drive into your cul-de-sac or your block, you know that you're in that area. That may be able to eliminate being able to park and cross over to the next block. That's just something that was on my list for, because I had daycare with my grandkids out there. I know what the problem is. But
And I think the
trouble
other
is-
thing too, what you're saying with the community watch is good, I don't shoot that down because I know quite a few areas that do have community watch. The only problem is you gotta make sure that the people who are going to do this and the police department, they're not stepping on the police department's
correct.
toes because they have a tendency to do that
Right.
sometimes,
Yep.
and that's what I'm saying.
I know
Somebody will
it's-
really have to work, with the police and everything else
But
to.
that was just something that maybe we can look at if it's possible, and maybe be able to cut down some of the looting and all that other stuff that's going on out there.
All right, thank you, Mr. Pond.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yes.
Okay, Miss Megan Story, do you have anything you would like to add to this? And Megan lives at 510 Buttonwoods.
I get up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning sometimes. I work 12, 14 hours. I leave, I come home, I don't have a parking spot in front of my house. If I get up early in the morning, I'm scared. I'm a single woman. It's just not good.
Understand.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
we'll do what we
the
can.
trees? Yeah, the trees behind our neighborhood are also, they're falling down.
Okay,
So we're having to come out there ourselves, my dad has, and cut some of them down so they wouldn't fall onto our house.
okay.
They belong to Kensington, that's the common area
That's,
between us
that's
and
what I want to
Kensington.
talk about.
We're writing it all down. We're writing it all down.
But parking is just terrible.
Yes. And we hear it very loud and clear.
Yeah, it's awful. I mean, my boyfriend can't even park. We have to park way across the street and the other, what is it, the 200 block? 600 block. We have to park up there.
All right, very good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, Diana Taylor. Diana lives at 519 Buttonwoods.
We're all friends.
This is great.
I am the new person on the block. I've only been there a little over 2 years. I came from Turnquist, so I've experienced HOA as a renter. I came originally for the parking, but I'm going to bring up the HOA and the parking permit while I'm at it. As far as the parking goes, there are 21 houses on our cul-de-sac. There are 38 paid parking spaces, actually only 36, because 2 of the spaces on the corner, one of them is adjacent to a fire hydrant, so legally it is not a parking space. On that same corner, there is a large drainage grate and what should be access for a handicap parking space, which is not marked as a handicap space. So those 2 are legally, as far as I'm understanding, not parking spaces. That's 36 paved spaces. The houses that are adjacent to Whitehall Road, my understanding is they have parking behind their houses. However, not all of those spaces are paved. So that is how I was told every house had, quote, 2 spaces. There's not 2 paved parking spaces for every house. Thus, we're having to go up the hill or park on Buttonwoods or park in, quote, fire lanes or in other spaces. So we're having a problem. I am one person in my house. I have 1 car. When I come home at 9:30 at night from a school event or from a family event or from a part-time job and I'm having to park out on the curved area in Buttonwoods because we don't even have overflow in 600 available, it is a problem.
Understand.
So that's the parking issue. And we have an empty house next to us. I mean, it's not like every house on our block has 2 cars. I mean, we should in theory have, 5 or 6 empty spaces, and we don't even have that.
Okay.
So,
I just want to comment to that.
yeah,
Even though 2 or 3 years when you
Yeah.
moved in, during that time, many homeowners had 3 citizens that was driving cars.
Right.
And most of those two, when you talk about permits, getting permits for 2 spots, oh, we can't do that because we got 3. I mean, we looked at that a couple of years ago. I'm just letting you know there's some for some and some for others. Not everybody's gonna agree on this, but the thing is, most of these families now have 2 and 3 drivers in
But-
their household that used to only have 1. I'm just using
Well, I'm
that.
just saying that even for the 21 houses that are in our cul-de-sac, even at 2 parking spaces per house,
Your
there
5
are no
spots.
longer 2 paved parking spaces
Okay.
in the adjacent areas to our houses. Realizing that some of the townhouses are not adjacent to the paved areas because of how it's built.
Yeah, they've overbuilt.
Because of the way it was set up. And I understand that when the houses were built and when they bought those houses, they understood that parking area. But even when those houses that have parked behind their houses on Whitehall Road, when they park out back there, we have a neighbor that currently, she has a boat, that it is in the backyard because it's under tarp. During boating season, it is parked on Whitehall Road. It is a large impediment to traffic, you know, as far as being able to see what's coming up the street. And you have to really pull out there. I mean, that's a problem. Yes, that's a problem. So you've got cars sitting out there that you're having to pull out to see what's coming. Yet that's the way they have to park. So, you know, we need that parking area.
Okay.
But as far as the HOA and the parking permits, I've lived in Turnquist. I've experienced the parking permits. I've seen the problems we had over there. Every house was assigned, could have 2 parking stickers and a guest permit. The downside to that was you could have a guest permit and park in front of a house. We don't have enough parking in front of our houses. So we already have an issue with people bringing in multiple cars and just leaving them and walking away. And I've had a person that's parked their car in front of my house for a week. I don't know who it belongs to. And they can put a guest tag in it if they're in Turnquist. They're legally allowed to be there. They don't even have to have a Maryland tag on the car. They're good to go. With the HOAs, I was a renter. Turnquist tried to start the HOA back up when I lived there. As a renter, I was told your landlord is the one that belongs to it. You can come to the meetings, but you don't have a vote. You can sit in on the meetings, you don't have a vote. They didn't want us there as the homeowners because we were perceived as the problem. And the HOA fell apart again. I've since obviously moved out of Turnquist. My family's moved out of Turnquist. And my understanding is the HOA there, I think, has gone away again. But I don't know how it would work with the renters. It has to do, I mean, as a homeowner, I'd be looking at the cost. That's gonna be a major factor for me. Are you actually giving me some power? Are you actually giving me some responsibility? Are you actually telling me that the renters, are they going to have a voice? Or are you going to put the responsibility on the owner?
I don't know if that's the town's, I don't think the town has a position of what the HOA,
That'd be a
that's,
corporation, they would be a.
yeah, that would be your
Well,
own.
if you're saying that the town of Elkton, you're saying you wanna help seed us,
We do.
you know, what backing would you be willing to give us? Because quite frankly, one of our problem residents is a rental property, you know.
One of the things from just listening to some of the issues, maybe we can create a extra parking spot for the overflow parking and the visitors. If we do go to the permitted parking 2 per house, or I know we're just talking here now, but the parking space would be designated with a different parking pass for the visitors and the overflow parking. That might be able to resolve some of the issues.
The other question was, we do have, as she had stated, one of our neighbors has some mobility issues. We actually have a few, 2 neighbors that have mobility issues. How do we go about having a parking space marked as handicapped?
We talked about this also.
No, that, matter of fact, I had that, not had it done, I initiated that about, what, Lord, 6 months ago?
They can apply to the motor vehicle administration.
Right, there's a lady that was at the 100 block, and she was wheelchair bound. And she was handicapped, and she went to the Department of Motor Vehicle, got a sticker, took it to the doctor, sent it in, and they allowed the sign to be placed there in front of her
They
home.
actually send it to us.
Right.
And then we install the sign, but they have to go through MVA.
So that
So what
happened.
happens though if that's a juvenile, if it's not an adult?
Who, is the juvenile own the car?
No.
Well, it'd be who the owner of the car.
Would be a parent.
Yes, they'd have to apply for it.
Her sticker had the same number that was on the sign out there. So if the person came home and whatever, then the police legally can come and remove the car. So that worked just fine.
And one thing came up was if they make it a handicap parking, not just a handicap parking, anyone handicapped in that area can park in that spot. But the one we're talking about designated just for that house. So there's two-part issue there, handicap and one that's just for the house.
Designates that number.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, after it was done, there was a guy pulled into the spot, and the young lady went to his home, which was a couple houses down, and told him that he can't park there because of, matching numbers, and it worked just fine.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
And I would suggest that.
Okay, Chantel,
Yes.
come on down. Chantel lives at 514 Buttonwoods Road, and your last name, please?
Duchesne.
Duchesne.
Mr. Gibbons, no.
Oh, yeah.
All righty.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, Mr. Gibbons. All right. Parking, we've already addressed. We won't go over that again. Trees. I live in the 500 block. March of 2014, tree fell in my yard. Missed my house by about 10 feet. I called Kensington Courts because that's their property. They said there was nothing they could do. I called the homeowners association, got who was running their homeowners. His brain finally kicked in and called me back 5 minutes later. Oh, it is our responsibility. We'll have somebody come out, remove the tree, which was one of the residents of Kensington Courts. I can see his house from my house. I'm on an end unit. He proceeded to remove the tree, but piled it on the other side of the storm drain where we have mowed for 16 years. So it's just a big pile of wood now. And I've addressed it. They said they would get it. When Mr. Fasona was in office, he said that he would write a letter to Kensington Courts telling them they had such and such time to remove this tree. It's still not removed.
How much wood is it?
I'm a tall tree.
Has it been cut up?
Yeah, it's cut up. It's big chunks. I can't even move it. And then there's I don't know, 6-7 foot section that's still laying over, that's still root bound.
Dan, can you go out there and take a look at that and see what's sitting there?
And the trees, I feel, for the people that live from 513 up, Megan, Jerry, all them, because God forbid if another tree, and they're leaning towards the houses, if they fall, somebody's going to be seriously hurt.
On a bad storm day, I sleep in the basement.
Yeah, I mean, because those trees sway.
And they're
Take
taller than
take
our
a look at that
house.
whole area, Dan.
I mean,
Back
I
there.
literally felt my whole house shake when the tree fell.
Well, I'm assuming it's that tree line right there.
Yeah, right here.
If you would point to that for us.
I live right here.
Mhm.
The tree that fell is right there.
And they're
All
taller than
these
our
trees.
houses.
I'm actually a little surprised that that would be more part of Kensington, not part of our open space.
Well, we were told when we
It is
purchased the house,
Kensington.
we were up to the wood line. That was our property on the other side of
And
the
their
street.
homeowners association has no money, so they're
Yeah.
gonna do nothing about
They're
it.
not gonna do anything. The guy apparently did it out of the kindness of his heart.
And it's, when it rains a lot, it's very wet in those woods,
It's swamp.
so they're gonna, and when it's windy, water coming off of the river,
Mhm.
it is going, you get a really big wind turbulence back there. I won't even sleep upstairs in our bedrooms if it's bad, because I don't wanna wake up with a tree limb.
We'll reach out to their homeowners association.
I mean,
and
I have the phone number at home. I did not bring it.
I think we have it, and I'm sure we have it here on file.
But, I mean, it was just the way he treated me when I
We
called
can't
him.
even top them.
No.
We couldn't top them.
No. And most of them are dead. They need to be taken out anyway.
Well, okay.
That's
Very
it.
good.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And the lady next to you?
She got her car stolen last night. Yeah, she got her car stolen last night.
Okay.
All right, very good. Anyone else have anything to say about Buttonwoods?
It's a lovely neighborhood.
Mr. Litzenberg of Walnut Lane.
Well,
If I remember back, when this all came about, who was the developer on that? Was it a Davitt that built that way back?
Montgomery. Yeah.
Or Montgomery, whatever they do.
Yeah.
Well, the town had ordinances that they should have made then before the town dedicated the streets to the town. They should have been made to put the second coating on that driveway. It shouldn't be up to them, I mean, the town's not gonna have to do it. But this goes way back that the town shirked their responsibilities in doing the thing that they should have been doing.
I will,
Under new administration, I don't think that's gonna happen.
thank you.
anymore.
No. I think that what we'll look at is when it was built, and we'll take a look at that base coating and so forth. And I know it's, now it's, you know, it's years and years and years and years ago, and
But you've got the performance bonds that these people have to post, and they should not be resolved of anything until they do what they're supposed to do. This happened up
yep.
with one of the developers not too long ago, and you finally got that
Walnut Hill.
straightened out.
Walnut Hill.
And they never even filled in the island with topsoil. And the plants, the trees they planted are now growing like this, because they never had enough dirt in the foundation to begin with. You walk up to the curb, and you can step down and see that much on the inside.
Wow.
There's no soil.
You
But
can
they
do
planted
chainsaw. I
trees.
like chainsaws.
Well, very good. Thank you very much for coming in, and we'll get that worked out. Okay, Miss Margie. Margie Blystone lives at 14 John Adams Lane, and she wants to talk about Main Street downtown and snow removal.
Yes, we had our first snowfall, as you know, and as a business owner downtown and an events planner, I wanted to make sure that we address the snow removal from the building owners who own the building and there's nobody in there taking care of the snow in front of it. And I went through the current regulations state that the building owner has 48 hours to remove the snow, which seems like a lot of time when we're considering people coming downtown each day and their safety. And it also states that we are to call the police department to have them enforce it. That seems rather detrimental to the police officers' time to have them worried about the snow removal. So I wondered if there was another way of dealing with that rather than doing a non-emergency 911 call. Let's see. It also states that the town should give notice through person or U.S. Postal Service, and I figure sending a letter 48 hours after the snowfall, there's no way to prove that anything's been done. We've had the new coffee place, Johanna went out and she was shoveling the empty lot space where nobody's ever taken care of that. And last year we had, 4 feet of snow piled up, and we were concerned we didn't have the coffee place there, but our customers that came to the Pallet and Page needed to have a way to access getting to our shop. So we were taking care of that snow removal, and we're not willing to keep doing that. So we'd like to make sure that something gets done in a timely manner for the safety of the people that come downtown.
And I think, John, you happened to be there, I think with Michelle, when this was being discussed a little bit, and Michelle gave me a little bit of heads up on everything here, and I would agree after looking at, this is one of the reasons why we're doing a recodification.
Exactly.
But when you look at it, and here we had snowfall, and you're giving in a high traffic area 48 hours, that's a little unreasonable, and I think we all would agree. And then when you look at other municipalities with what they're requiring, and to give you an example, the town of Northeast gives 10 hours. Chesapeake City gives up to 24 hours, but the most is 24 hours in their high traffic areas, and we're looking at a 48-hour window. I think 48 hours is maybe even a little excessive in our residential street side of things. And but I know that we'll look at this.
Okay, so we can get that updated, and I guess, speaking of getting in touch with them through the postal service, if we can make sure that phone numbers are available, that they're contacted right away and it's logged, and fines are given, because, I've heard through Mary Jo that a lot of these building owners live nowhere around here, aren't following up with anything that's going on with their buildings, and it's really important that we go after them if they're not taking care of the property.
And I think that probably the best would be an email to them more so than a phone call if possible, but if they don't have an email, then it would have to be a phone call. But I do agree with you. I think if it's not taken care of. Now, there's an absentee, a lot owner per se, and I would say that he doesn't care if it snows or doesn't snow. He has no skin in the game here in Elkton.
Exactly. So how does, what happens with that? I mean,
Well,
you
we
put a
can-
lien
what
on
we can do
that
in a case like
property?
that, and I think you're right next to the, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, next to the
I know
public
who that
place.
is, and we can give them notice to have it removed, and if they don't, we'll remove it and put send them a bill.
Send them a bill.
And then if they don't pay the bill, we'll lien that property.
I think
That's
we,
the way to do it.
and we have to make sure
It's
we,
skin in the game.
yeah, we have to make sure that we take care of our own spots, which we do. We try to. I know here in front of the building here and in front of the corner down there, as the snow is falling, they're trying to remove it.
Yeah.
So I know we're trying
Oh,
on our
exactly.
side.
And if you see that something, people are trying to take care of it, and you can't really help it. I mean, we try to help each other when things like that happen. My question is that does removal include like salting that area? Because, I mean, you can scrape the snow off and then end up with a layer of ice that's just as dangerous as almost more dangerous than leaving the snow there sometimes.
I don't know what the correct
It's
definition would
snow,
be.
but it doesn't require salting, the ordinance does.
Okay.
I think it's a good idea to do that.
Yeah, I would like that included, something standing salting, so that it is safe for pedestrians, because, there's big ice patches when you remove and don't salt. And that's really, I'm almost more afraid to walk across the ice patches than I am the snow.
That is the
sometimes, so.
troublesome areas.
Alrighty, so that's.
Who does the county building? Does the county come out and do their sidewalks? Who does it for them?
The hospital does there.
Yeah, they have a maintenance.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, all right, thank you. Okay, this is the time of the meeting. We're going to open up the floor to anyone that has anything for the good of the town. Mr. Lemon, come on down and please tell us your address. I should know it by now.
Right next door to me.
103 Walnut Lane.
You're next to them.
I haven't moved,
Uh,
and I'll be brief. It's been an interesting meeting. On your last workshop, Ken Benner came in from Severn Trent and made what I thought was a wonderful presentation on either ponds or wells. And so my question is, what are we going to do about it?
And I think that his comments and his presentation was a wonderful presentation. And I think we have to take it seriously about continuing and building additional storage areas for the town of Elkton for a water reservoir. I can tell you how I absolutely feel about it, and I'm just not sure where do we go at from here. And I think us as a team up here, we have to decide, is that the direction we want to give staff the direction to say, hey, let's move forward and try to find some more storage areas. Can we do it this way? Initially, I spoke to Jean Minner after the presentation, and she would be the best one to give us the input if we can and we can't in generic terms, but I think that we need to get someone above her. We need to get folks from the not only the state highway, but probably from the Army Corps of Engineers.
You would have to have a feasibility study that would incorporate the realm part of the Environment Corps of Engineers, Federal Area Commission, all those regulatory agencies involved in it, and put together a very comprehensive plan for review. You can't ask them, you can't ask the Corps exactly what to do. You have to tell them what you want to do, and then they tell you whether you can do it or not. But it would probably be a 3 to 5 year exercise to get to a bottom line. It was roughly that much time for our study on the creek that time. Then it got to the point where the town, the enormous cost of maintaining it was beyond the town's capabilities, and the town didn't move forward with that. So it would be a similar project, 3 to 5 year.
We're not dropping it. We'll continue to move forward with it, but it's not, I don't know if it's going to be a very fast pace for us all.
Well, he just put it the way I would, and you too, the thrust. I think it's important to get started. He's just said 3 to 5 years. The artesian water contract goes till 2019. I was thinking of the date I was born, 1919. No, 20 goes to, I think, to June of 19. And it seems to me we should do exactly what Lewis says. We need to lay out what I would call an action plan and assign and lay out the different things that need to be done and who's supposed to do it and when they're supposed to get done and get it started. Because he said 3 to 5 years. According to my math, 19 is 4 years, and we shouldn't miss that date. And sometimes the government doesn't move as fast as some people would like it.
Yes.
So my suggestion has already been made, but I think we need to get if you guys really want to do it, then I think we need to get an action plan together and get moving on it now. That's my suggestion.
Thank you.
One of the things you have to consider here is that artesian provides us finished water, drinking water. The expanding the raw water capabilities of the town still would not relieve us of having a backup potable water system.
Then I didn't understand.
All the ponds would create a raw water supply, and it would require that plant to operate. The purpose of our permit and having potable water or drinking water available to us was if that plant failed in any way, we would have no way to supply water to the town except for wells, which would be insufficient. That's why the state required us to have that system in place.
Maybe I don't understand it. Maybe I didn't listen to what you had to say. I thought Ken said if you put these ponds in or get these wells started, that you wouldn't have the requirement for the artesian contract anymore. Because this met a state of Maryland, then you meet a state of Maryland requirement that you have to have so much backup water, that you do have the backup water, so you don't have to supply from somebody else.
You have backup water, but it would be raw water. And all the backup water in the world wouldn't help you if the plant failed. And it's a really nice idea to have a potable water supply available to the town.
That's not.
We're such an enormous size organization to keep running. I mean, you just couldn't live without water any length of time.
I have never heard it put that way. Not one time, because then why would we even do a study of looking into ponds or
I didn't
building?
say you should do a study. I recommend you stick with artesian.
They're high as the devil.
We spent $1.5 million.
Have you ever heard of that? I've never heard of that.
No,
I've never heard of that.
I heard it the same way he just mentioned when he explained it at the last meeting.
Well, Mr. Benner has his way of looking at this, but it's different. I mean, that's all.
So the just to clarify for, and I'm glad we're actually talking about this. Just to clarify it, so the backup supply that the state has required has to be ready to go water.
Yes.
So
The thing is, the treatment plant is our largest origin of drinking water. You have to have some means to replace that supply if something happens. We were very fortunate to have artesian available to us because we looked at both United Water and artesian. United didn't have the capability of supplying up to 1.5 million gallons we need, because they have to be able to supply sufficient amount of water to actually meet our needs.
So our issue is more than we probably need more storage tanks to have backup, or is that just, you couldn't have that much storage?
I can tell you that You can't store water,
Use it.
potable water, unless you mix it with chlorine and monitor it, because you lose the residual chlorine and everything. Water goes stale, so to speak, sort of like having shelf life. So you have to have a balance of demand on the water to keep that fresh balance going.
I've been coming here for a while, and it's always, well, maybe, sometimes you don't know the right question to ask. And we've been going through this, and I've heard all of these people talk about artesian contract, and we need 110 days supply of water for drought. See, we've always stuck on that, and that's where all of our wheels have been spinning of how do we achieve that goal. Not if the plant goes down, we have to have water from somewhere else. I haven't heard that one time. Not one time.
If you base it on the presumption that the plant would never fail, then you're fine. But I don't believe you can do that. And I've been here for such a long period of time, right before you all.
Absolutely.
And I've been through the process by which we were required to develop this. And we actually developed the plan to provide it, and we actually build it, and we now implement it. So I've been through that whole process with the state. So
I guess some of my dismay comes with the fact that we've talked about this, and many people have talked about it, to sitting here and sitting up here, that's never been said one time. I mean, that's where I'm a little taken back, because we've all been spinning our wheels in the wrong direction, and there's nothing, you're saying there's nothing we can do to get rid of the artesian contract because Maryland says that we have to have a supply backup of water in case that treatment plant goes down. That's what you're saying right now. Am I hearing that right?
Unless you had an alternative.
Another treatment plant. Another treatment plant. Or another supply.
Another treatment plant. I don't think you.
So building ponds for 110 days of water or reservoirs or something is actually a moot point.
The 110-day thing you're talking about is that if you have a drought, we have a flow-by requirement to the plant. When the amount of cubic feet per second of water that comes down or gets to a certain point, we have to actually shut the plant down. You literally have to shut it down because the state requires you to do that. That's when you need your water today. What Ken's talking about is if you can store that 110 days of water somewhere, then you won't have to shut your plant down because you have it available to you. That's where he's getting at.
And you had 3 people just run for election.
A lot of water.
You had 3 people just run for election. You've had other people run on past elections saying that they're going to do something about the artesian contract. Quite frankly, we can't do a darn thing about the artesian contract, is what you're telling us.
It'd be difficult, let's put it that way.
So the backup, I'll give everyone an opportunity to comment here in a second.
When I can help the board on this.
Yes.
We can have a representative of the Maryland Department of the Environment actually come and speak with you about this. Because right now, you're just operating on what you know. And actually, I can have someone from the water supply program actually sit in front of you.
Good idea.
Yeah, I think it.
And tell you that.
We're getting the back feed in the back. Diane? We're getting the back feed from the, so let's do that. That would be fantastic.
You seem to be, that's the best way to do it.
Because I think that would, because I've been under the assumption also that if we had, and I hear exactly where you're going with this, we could have all this extra storage in the world, and if we can't treat the water, then it doesn't do you any good. And if that's what the state is saying,
it's sort of like having a whole lot of gasoline on only one car.
There you go.
And
I got what you're saying. Now I get it.
Yeah.
It was never. It was never.
So we're thinking about. So even with the new well down by Elk Landing that we did.
Oh, no, wells they produce drinking water. Yeah.
So
wells are good.
So if we produce the wells, but it's the storage of the water, so if we can find more wells.
You still got to pump them.
Well, I can't tell you that you can do that either. And the reason I say that is because one of the regulatory processes that control how many wells you have is your demand over a 10-year period, for example, that the Maryland Department of Planning gives you. and we meet that demand right now.
The
In other words,
allocation.
We have more permitted capacity than we have people to drink it right now. So you couldn't have more wells because you couldn't demonstrate a need. In other words, if we added all the well capacity that we have permitted for us, we don't use that much water. So it's good for growth. We have water for growth.
Very good. Let's get the MDE in here.
Yeah, I'll get MDE.
Didn't you say that, go ahead, Mr. Gibbons?
No, Lewis always thought it was difficult to get them in here to explain that situation, but he feels confident now that they will come in
I'm
and
shooting for a
talk.
workshop. I'm shooting for a workshop meeting to see if I can get them in here.
Very good.
So what possible?
I thought that was a simple question.
There you go. Look how long you kept us going there, Mr. Lemon.
To say, well, right?
Well, it was actually a good question because it stirred up some information that we needed to know.
Yeah, anyway,
Did you have a part
got
two?
that started. Can I go to number 2, or did somebody back there?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm going to give him an opportunity to come
I
up.
was going to be short so everybody can go home and watch C-SPAN, governmental TV, but
I hear you.
anyway, I'll do the next one here. This is quick. I think this is a quick one, but I
Okay.
thought the other one was quick. This is just a comment. I've seen a lot of good ideas brought up in these meetings, and then you never hear any more about them. And I'll give you a couple of examples, and why I'm bringing it up now is because you guys are going to sit down and make plans for next year. And it seems to me that all of you have good ideas that you ought to write them down and get them on a schedule and go over them and try to put together, which I think you're doing anyway, but to put together a plan next year. But I think you need to get all these things together, and then you can't do them all next year, but you can get them together and prioritize them. And he's a 5-year plan man. I'm not a 5-year plan man, but you can get them down and prioritize them and do that kind of thing. And I'll give you a couple examples of things that came up. One, Earl, you came up with was Employee of the Month. I've seen that work, and that's, the hospital does it. It's a good idea, but I've never heard any more about it. You've had 2 good ideas. That you had an idea on suggestions, and suggestions over the first couple years. After that, you probably ought to get rid of the program, but over the first couple years, you'll get a lot of great ideas that will save the town money. But I never heard any more about it. It came up, and everybody says that's a good idea, but then it disappears. And another one that you brought up, which is important and not easy to do actually, is you talked about personnel reviews. If you don't do it right, you might as well not do it. But these are just 3 things. I could bring up some more, but just examples of stuff that I've seen brought up here, which I think are great ideas and should be considered. I'm not saying that everything should be done next year. I'm just saying it should be considered and not lost in the woodwork somewhere, which I think is what happens. Now, of course, you can pick them all up. I go back and read all of Michelle's minutes, I guess. But anyway, that's just a suggestion.
Very good.
Good.
Thank you, sir.
And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Oval, you had something would like to come up and give your address and say a couple words?
It's gonna make me stand up.
Well, we want to get you on television.
Hi, my name is Pat Ogle, 137 Milestone Road in Thompson Estates area.
Thank you.
Maybe I was confused on this artesian deal. Now that they're saying it's totally different from what, I've never heard that before.
Thank you.
Okay? Years ago, when there was a drought declared, is that why when artesian rates to the town of Elkton went up?
I can't answer that. Someone else
Maybe
here
you
would have
might
to
know.
answer that for me.
Rates weren't based on drought, they were based on financial analysis by Municipal Services Group, who did a comprehensive study of our
So was that
system.
before you even signed a contract with Artesian, or?
Are you talking about the rate that Artesian charges? Or the
Yes, the rate that Artesian-
The drought event triggered a greater draw from Artesian, which then triggered a new higher minimum draw from Artesian.
Okay, but did that cost the town more money?
Yes, because it got more
Okay.
water, didn't change the rate.
So when you go back and if you negotiate with Artesian again in 2019, then it would be possible that it's not going to cost the town as much as it did for this past.
I've got my fingers crossed that I think that I think that we're.
All on the same page?
I think so. I don't know exactly how to say it, but I think that our eyes are going to be a little wider open, and we'll make sure that there'll be. I think we'll have more than just our board and Lou and the town attorney. We'll really go over that thing with a fine-tooth comb, and I think that. Quite frankly, I'm sure that Artesian wants to continue a relationship with the town, and I think that they're going to be willing to do what they have to do also to make it work.
Okay, thank you. That was just
Thank
my
you,
question.
Pat. Thank you. And listen, on the good news, I guess just to let you know, I think we got a couple. I won't give the quotations, but I know that we got a couple quotes to do the plaster and the painting today. So in Elk Landing. Anyone else have anything to say tonight?
Just one comment. I was talking to a policeman in Newark the other day, and evidently, it's a well-known fact over there that their police bring their homeless to the truck stop out here and let them out to come to Elkton. And I think if that is true, the mayor of Newark should be advised and tell them to keep their homeless over there.
Thank you. Hey, Captain, can you check with the chief of police over there for me and tell him we don't want them to bring anyone to our truck stops anymore? And I will send that letter to, well, of course, I don't even know who the mayor is. It used to be Mayor Gardner many years ago. But Lou, can you get me a letter, and I want to kind of confirm that, and I want to confirm it and before I send that letter. But I can tell you that I heard the same thing also. It's no different than anyone else.
From a Newark policeman told me that. Another thing, how are you making out with the interest on the reserve that the town has?
That's a very good point. I have personally contacted multiple banking institutions, and we're waiting to hear back
I've
from.
got an appointment with Jared Krause of UBS. I've got a call into Tom Laughlin, who's now with City of Howard Base. He has not returned my call.
And we've got a meeting with Howard Bank next Wednesday, so we are moving forward with that to see if we can get some better rates. And then the last thing that we need to do is probably go back to PNC and see if they can increase it in that manner. Thank you. It is 8:24. This meeting is adjourned.